For this lesson, we need to open the file First Quarter Sales and Profit 10 that you'll find in your Sample Files folder. Of course, if you're working through the course sequentially, you'll already have this file open. In cell F18, I'm going to type the date the 1st of January 2009. Now I'm going to autofill the date down by hovering over the spot on the bottom right hand corner, looking for the black cross cursor shape, and then clicking and dragging down to the bottom of the list. The other cells are then populated with sequential dates. But at some time you'll need to add transaction dates to a worksheet, and we'll have 4 or 5 entries with the same date. AutoFill's perfect for eliminating the need to retype the date for each transaction, but its insistence upon incrementing the date every time could be frustrating. Fortunately, we can change the default behavior. If you look at the bottom right-hand corner of the filled range, you'll see a little icon, and when you hover over it, it says AutoFill Options. This is called a Smart tag. If I click the Smart tag, you can see several different options which will change the way in which AutoFill works. I'm going to choose the option Copy Cells instead of the default Fill Series, and I'm sure you can guess what will happen when I click Copy Cells. The dates change so that I have the same date in each of the cells. I'm now going to type the date the 31st of March 09 into cell G18 and press the Enter key. I'm now going to autofill the date the 31st of March 09 across to the right 6 cells, and by default autofill increments the date, but I'm now going to click the Smart tag and choose Copy Cells so that the dates are all the 31st of March. Now we can't see that at the moment because the date is slightly too wide for the cell. So to fix that, I'm going to select all of those columns, widen one column so it's big enough, and that widens all of the columns to the same width, and I can see the 31st of March 09 in each cell. Now the reason I did that was so that I can examine each of the different possibilities when you autofill a date. In column G, I'm going to select the 31st of March, autofill to the end of the list, click the Smart tag, and in this case I'll leave it at Fill Series, which is the default behavior, so that I remain with my incremental dates. In the next column, I'll autofill down, click the Smart tag. What the next two options do, Fill Formatting Only and Fill Without Formatting, will only be clear later in the course when you've completed Session 4, making your worksheets look professional. So we'll pass those two for the moment, and we'll go for Fill Days. Fill Days does exactly the same thing as Fill Series. The date increments by 1 day at a time. Let's now click on the column header of column I, autofill down, click the Smart tag, and this time we'll go for Fill Weekdays. Fill Weekdays, a little bit different. You can see that the 4th and 5th of April were a Saturday and a Sunday, so the dates jumped over the weekend, going from the 3rd to the 6th. In the next column, we'll see what the next Smart tag option is. The next option is Fill Months. Click Fill Months, and what happens here is quite interesting. We get the 31st of March in the first cell, but as there is no 31st of April, it instead gives me the last date in April, the last date in June, the last date in July, etc. I'll now click on column K and autofill down, and when I release the mouse button and click the Smart tag, I can go for Fill Years, and I'm sure that was exactly what you expected to happen. 31st of March 09, 10, 11, 12, etc. And in the last column I'll show you a quicker way of doing things that will save you one click. I'll autofill down, but this time I'm holding the right mouse button rather than the left mouse button. And when you hold the right mouse button down, when you release, you get all of the options that would normally be accessed via the Smart tag without having to do that extra click. I'll go for Fill Series in this case. And now I'll just delete those values now that I've demonstrated that technique. So here we have all of the options in the Smart tag. The first one is Copy Cells, when we get the same date in each cell. The next one along was Fill Series, where we get sequential dates, including the weekends. The next along was Fill Dates, which does exactly the same thing as Fill Series. It increments by 1 day at a time. The next one along is Fill Weekdays, In this case, we jump from the 3rd to the 6th, skipping the weekend. In this case, we have fill months, where we get the last day in each month in this case, but of course, if you had the 25th of March in the first cell, you'd get the 25th for all of the other months as well. And the last one was fill years, where we get exactly the same date, but in sequential years. I'm now going to save my work as first quarter sales and profit 11, and as usual, I'll put it in the practice folder rather than overwrite my sample files. I click the Save button, and we're done.